Hey, middle-aged gamers, we are back and fashionably late as always. Last week was the Game Awards, to some excitement and maybe some disappointment for some people. Let us know what you think down in the comments. I think we and Adam and I will try our best to talk about it if we have some time today. For this week, Adam's going to be talking about the two Tomb Raider games, and I've got some things to say there as well. We have to talk about Divinity and that very wonderful trailer. Depends who you are. We're also going to talk about Exodus, which looks like a really cool game I've been following passionately on Instagram. At the end, as always, Ed's going to be talking about questions from Reddit. There's a meme about story and gameplay, which I don't actually understand what the horse has to do with it, so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. And there's a post or a picture on r/video games where it says it's a good time to be an RPG fan. Do you guys agree? Adam had a really good point before the show. Was like, yeah, it's always a good time to be an RPG fan. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So as always, let's get started. Adam, tell us Tomb Raider. We're excited. I'm excited. I loved the reboots of the Tomb Raider games, though I never played any of the originals. Wonderful, and nice way to end out the video, Adam. I remember the first rebooted Tomb Raider because I remember going to a corner store by the Kaohsiung train station and pre-ordering the special edition of the game, and it coming in like a tin box and stuff. And I was excited. I got this like survival plastic water flask as well in the edition of the game. I'm like, this is cool. I remember playing the game and I was like, okay, the story's kind of cool, but I love the bow and arrow. I hated the puzzle elements. I still do in all those games. But that doesn't mean like this is a game. If when it does come out and it doesn't conflict with any of the other titles that I might be doing for Mag or something else, I will definitely buy it and play it on day one. Um, they were really cool, and the games look good. I hope they come with like more puzzle solving conveniences so that I don't have to select Alt Tab or I have to Google something like how do I figure out this puzzle, or I wish games just had this sort of button that like, hey, do you want to solve this puzzle? I'm like, yes, because I just want to shoot stuff and jump and fight and experience the story. I don't really want to think, where did I put this stone to solve this puzzle? Like there are times where I will go into and do puzzle solving, and I did that because I played all the Tomb Raiders that came out, the newly introduced ones from a few years ago, and I enjoyed all of them. But towards, I think the third one was the one I didn't finish because I was just tired of the puzzle solving elements of it. But yeah, no, exciting news. I mean, like now that you mention it, like I was aware of the Tomb Raider games, but I think I we talked about this on the show before. The only console I think I ever had was a Nintendo in the very early 90s, and I don't even think it was mine. I think somebody brought it over. But then, so I was aware of the Tomb Raider games, but I never played any of them. But I'd love like a Tomb Raider going back to sort of the arcadey mechanics of like, hey, unlimited ammo, and you just get to play and enjoy it. And I feel like other games have done unlimited ammo on the basic guns, and it's kind of cool. Like it's nice to have a weapon where it's like just shoot, just have action and that sort of stuff. So no, I like if they do go back to that way, that would be even better. Totally agree. Yeah. 100% agree. And onto a shorter story. Tell us, you saw the Divinity trailer and you enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I despite the trailer, I watched it and then, I saw the guy and he's marked in some sort of weird way, and then I saw the end and the explosion and stuff. I'm like, man, I hope all you villagers die to watch someone die like that. Like, I was a little bit angry, but I'm like, okay, cool, this is interesting. I still need to play Have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet? No, I mean that makes sense. No, I mean I've got, like, I remember I played Divinity 1 and I loved that game, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But towards Divinity 1, it was like level 18 or something. I'm like, oh my god. Battles fighting enemies, and it just might be because I'm not like the most conscious person when I spec. And I just maybe spec'd my guys wrong, but battles went from like 15 minutes to fight to like 45 minutes for one fight, and I was like, nope, this is not cool anymore, and I stopped playing Divinity 1. um, but no, I'm always good for another RPG. I have a bad feeling, given the dive into content creation on two channels, and at least with us, that I will never play Baldur's Gate 3. And so I'm hoping that you or both of us get to cover Divinity when it does come out, so that we can like say, hey, let's play this game together. You make some content, I make some content, we get to cover Divinity, and then so I'll actually get a chance to play this game when it does come out in 2029 or 2030, who knows, whenever it's gonna come out, right? Um, but it's good, like, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, both of the games are great. Um, yeah, I love this sort of game. I love the possibilities. I love the from the very first, like, the original Baldur's Gate 2 way back in the day. Like, that was the jam. When I first learned about Magic Missile and how cool that spell looked like, even when it looked really horrible in graphics 20 years ago. Um, but yeah, no, I love. I mean, I grew up reading fantasy books, so the more of these kinds of stories, the better. I just hope it's not as dark as the trailer makes it out to be. I mean, thanks for explaining that. Like, as you said, Divinity lore. I'm like, I should know more about the lore. The first game was like 40 hours. I think the second, because I was looking through um, games I played in 2025 for the MAG Awards, and stay tuned towards that at the end of the year. We're gonna have some interesting titles. Our going title that I still need to get Adam's approval on for the MAG Awards is the Worth Our Limited Time Awards. Where I thought was like, oh, cool, that's perfect for people who don't get to play as many games as we would like to play. Um, but yeah, no, I was looking through games for 2025, and like, in terms of all time played, Divinity's like in my Divinity 2 is in my top 10. But despite that, if you ask me what was the low in any of the Divinity games, I'd be like, great question. I don't know. I mean, it's the same like when I'm gaming with my brothers or gaming with Hans, right? Just sort of like you're having a conversation, you're talking about other things. The game is sometimes secondary um, to what you're discussing in that situation. But final live story for today, Adam. Tell us about Exodus for those people who are not aware of this game. Perfect. Like I said, I mean, I posted some stats to Adam. Like Instagram is the best platform to gain growth. You get a large number of impressions and stuff. So I've seen lots of gaming studios do lots of Instagram content. I talked about Myocure Games, the Icelandic studio, earlier this year, and their game, which I thought looked great. It wasn't perfect. I mean, they're a double A studio, but it was still like they made a game. It looked great. Some of the mechanics were not there, but it's still a game worth playing, worth trying out. And again, hopefully, a lot of us middle-aged gamers have time to do so. But coming back to the Rise of Jinn, um, it followed it. Looks wonderful. More space like Mass Effect games. I just literally I was looking through an old hard drive the other day, and I had a folder full of game trailers, and I had trailers of Mass Effect 2, and I rewatched the Mass Effect 2 trailer in 2025. I'm like, oh my god, I miss this story and the impact and the characters and stuff. And I remember Adam played the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, if I'm not mistaken. You didn't play. You did not. Who played? Someone told me they played the Legendary Edition. I can't remember who. But I mean, why I mentioned that is just like, oh yes, okay, yeah. No, I mean, bottom line is like this looks awesome. I like time aspects in games, and this game has some sort of time dilation mechanics and that sort of stuff. Um, that's already got me sold. I love games like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing more footage. This actually might be a game where if it does come out in early access or something like that, I would definitely be the first person to be like, okay, yeah, take my money and I'll start making some videos and playing this. Oh yes, I've seen the media coverage about the Beyond Good and Evil series. That is a shame. I mean, but it's one of many series that have died the inevitable death as we have shifted towards these like gigantic AAA games or these live service franchises or these year-on-year franchises, which is something we'll talk about on our hot takes next week. Um, so stay tuned for that. So we are done, if you can believe it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with all the sort of news we wanted to talk about. But I mean, Adam, before we talk about our Reddit questions, is there any other games from the Game Awards that you want to touch on for a little bit? Anything that's sort of grabbed your attention? Um, nothing. Yes. I didn't even have it open because I wrote down a few games as I was going through. Because if you guys are watching the live show later, I sent Adam a list of the games because he didn't have time because he's a crazy busy person and I am not a busy person. Yeah. I'm looking at something now. Is it a dog or it's not Bradley the Badger, right? Ah, Herd Sheep and the Free Shepherd. The Free Shepherd is the game. Yes, yes, yes. Did you have a dog growing up? Did you have a dog? Yeah. Gro- I mean, growing up when in Virginia. Wow. Hmm. Wow. Cool. I mean, so why are you interested in the dog game? Bringing that back to the game. Okay. No, and I agree. And you know, you mentioned like I have the sort of the same eye for games, but it tends to be sometimes on the more cozy gaming side of things where I'm like, oh my god, The art is amazing. This idea has never been done before, at least since I've started paying more attention to the gaming industry and the gaming space. I'm like, okay, buy, and I end up to buy way too many games that I don't end up playing. Or I have a now 259 game wish list on Steam, which is another horrible story that I have to figure out at some point. But yeah, no, cool. So the 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦 game is really cool. Let's go back to the schedule for today. So tell me about that story gameplay meme, because I don't quite get it. Ah. So what game does this signify for you? Yeah, no, when I was thinking about this, and as you were talking, I'm like, okay, for someone who doesn't really care too much about story, I mean, what would this count? And I'm like, oh wow. And then my first inclination was the Outer Worlds one, where I really liked the story, or I liked the side that you were coming from. But the gameplay was not great. And the Outer Worlds 2, the gameplay is absolutely amazing. The floor system in the Outer Worlds 2 is so cool and so different. And it's like every small decision you can do in the game, once you actually enable floors, gives you like benefits and drawbacks for a particular thing. Like, oh, if you're always doing stealth, you have bad knees, and your bad knees make sound, and it's so cool. But the Outer Worlds 2, I just finished this last week. Um, I felt like there was no sight. I'm like, I love you guys. I'm gonna die for you in this game. I'm gonna kill everybody, and we're gonna win this war against something. And the game was like, my brothers always talk about this, like you're in the gray, like in The Witcher, like you can't choose a side, you're in the middle, and I hate that with a passion. I want to choose a side. Don't make me be in the middle. And that's what the Outer Worlds 2 made me do, which is why I think like the Outer Worlds 1, really cool story, gunplay, that sort of stuff. Warframe was very similar. Warframe, way back when it first started, amazing lore behind Warframe. But the like I was talking about Hans when we were playing Soulframe, um, Warframe's original gameplay was not great. This is back when it was just 500 people in the closed alpha. Um, the gameplay was not great. I mean, it was a closed alpha after all, but the story was like, wow, who are these space ninjas? What happened to them? Who are the Tenno? Who are the Grineer? And all this sort of stuff. Like, there was such this amazing world that they created, and Soulframe has touches of it, but it's definitely much harder to figure out. It's both sides are kind of terrible. Like, one is like a religious cult, and the other one is like super 100% capitalism is awesome people. Um, and both sides, I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of religion, and I don't think capitalism works exactly. It's not a bad system, but it's definitely not a good system. Like, why make me choose between those two? They're both, I want to say other words, terrible options. So that's why I didn't like the Outer Worlds 2. And I think maybe there's a reason why they did it that way, but I just, no, 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 no. For me, I just couldn't. So yes, for me, it was bad for me, but like some other people, like, yes, you could probably totally deal with that. And last question, Adam. Is it especially good to be an RPG fan for 2026? Yeah, no, I mean, like, I when I research these questions, I'm like, okay, cool, this is an interesting question. Then after Adam makes his point, I'm like, oh damn, he's right. Yes, I think every single year, at least post 30, that's going back 15 years. I felt like there's always been some sort of cool RPG every year. So that would be 2010, at least that I can think of. We're like, cool, there's something to play, something interesting, something new, something innovative with a great story or new mechanics. So yeah. So Astrobot last year, Baldur's Gate RPG, Elden Ring RPG. The Last of Us has RPG elements, Sekiro RPG elements, God of War RPG elements, Zelda RPG elements, Witcher RPG. So only, yeah, a little is an RPG. Yes, only one I can see from this is going back to 2015 is Overwatch. in 2016, and It Takes Two. The rest, oh, and Astrobot. So 3 games in the last 9 years. I agree. And final thoughts for today. I think we talked about this before the show. What do you think about Claire Obscure's somewhat clean sweep of the Game Awards? I love that suggestion, honestly. Like I think I don't watch awards shows. I know like when you if you guys remember Antoine, he watches a lot of that stuff while he does work. I tend to watch a lot of like gameplay videos or listen to them, I should say, not really watch. And I'm not a big active YouTube video watcher, but I listen to a lot of stuff all the time. Which is why I have like 8 hours of YouTube per week. Um, but yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. I think we need more representation, and I like the idea of game of the year being something that is accessible to as many people as possible. Right, we're approaching 8 billion people in the world, or already past it, and I think like Astrobot, for example, only being available to PlayStation people is like fine. Like I think if you're going to choose a game of the year, it should be available on a large number of platforms, not just the PlayStation, right? Which um, I remember a French journalist talked about all the consoles, so Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, in the diaspora of gaming is only 12.5% of the entire market. PC was 25, and the majority was mobile at like 50 something, right? So, I mean, like something that's only on probably that's not 12.5% is Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch combined. Something only on let's say a few percentage points of the entire gaming industry should not be called game of the year. And again, this is just my opinion. I think it should reflect a lot of people, but no, and I totally agree with what you said. Yes. Oh, nice. No. I love that. You know what? I'm gonna turn this into an Instagram post, and that's because I was looking at like I'm stunning up on a lot of social media, and I was like, oh, here's an idea. Put a quote. I'm like, I'm gonna put that on our Instagram today. I haven't taken the Game Awards seriously since Ghost of Tsushima lost, and that's gonna be just a single picture. Totally agree. And on that note, thank you guys as always for tuning in, checking out the videos. Stay tuned for other stuff dropping during the week. The latest newsletter is going to drop. If you missed, just caught the tail end of the show, you watched parts of it, you want to see in entirety what we talked about that didn't make into the videos this week, make sure you subscribe. Check Adam out on X. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube. And then we will see you guys next week. So just a reminder, next week we're going to start our special episodes. We're going to talk about hot takes for 2025, or hot takes just in gaming. It doesn't have to be for this year. And the last, we can talk about the MAG Awards, our own special, very, very important awards. You have to tune in for 2025 from games we played that might not have come out in 2025, but games that we're like, this is something, it deserves recognition, it deserves more people to play it. Hopefully it deserves a sequel or multiple sequels, but you'll have to tune in at the end of the year to find out. So thanks as always, everyone, and we'll see you next time.